I may be the only one who's late to the party on this when it comes to Momigami. Maybe you've already heard of it, maybe you're already doing it, but the word Momigami is Japanese and it means kneaded paper. And I love techniques, I love paper, and I just find this process really interesting. Um, I know that it's centuries old. It turns paper into um, like a fabric. Like it feels like with a texture of fabric. And because it feels like fabric, people actually sew with it and do things that they would, create things that they would create with fabric. And that was something that was done in the past. When certain people could not afford certain fabrics, they figured out a way to turn paper into fabric, to a cloth like material, so that they could make clothing and things like that. And I am just fascinated by processes like that. I appreciate anything where people make, mend, and do, where necessity becomes the mother of invention, where people figure things out. And it just shows how resourceful people actually are. And so I went through my paper stash, my paper collection, and this piece of paper jumped out at me. I thought, wow, this would be a beautiful piece to start with. And then I saw that one. So I love the brightness of this one. And then, of course, it has the purple in it. And that's, one of my favorite colors. But then I like this one because it looks like it has writing on it. So we're going to start with this piece. And what I'm going to do, and there are multiple, many different ways to accomplish Momigami, with oil and tapioca starch and different things like that. But I'm just going to use lotion. And I got the Equate lotion, which, is sort of like a vino. Okay, so my understanding is you use some oil. I think some people use coconut oil. Like I said, I'm going to use this lotion right here. And I'm in Denver, Colorado, and it's very dry here, so I can't get enough moisturizing lotion. And I think what you're supposed to do is just kind of fold the edges in. Oh, I didn't notice. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. And you just keep working it and folding it in. And I think I've seen a few people do it a lot of different ways. So, like I said, this is my first time. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens if I can get this, to feel like cloth. And I was really intrigued by this process because I love paper. And then when I think I heard a lady who is, I want to say like a, leading person in this area, like an expert in this area. She gives classes. And I think I heard them say all you need is paper, water, and eager hands. I think that's what. So I'm just going to just keep working it and see if we can get it to feel like cloth. And one of the other things that, besides my love for paper, was the fact that it's a process that requires kneading. And I love to make homemade bread. Okay, now I may be being a little too rough with that. If you can see, I got a tear in it, but it's becoming a little bit more pliable, malleable. So I'm just going to keep working it. And I know that I read too, if you're concerned about, you know, this remaining, like, you know, or maintaining the archival quality, that you want to be careful with uh, different oils and things, because you don't want things to go rancid. But I just want to see what I can do with this paper, and I want to see how long it takes. Okay, so all right. And I do like just the texture and the wrinkles that are already present, but I'm nowhere near where it needs to be. I can tell I'm not there yet, so. Let's crumple it up real good. All right. This is definitely a workout, but it's very meditative. Okay. All right, I'm going to open it again. And, okay. And then it gives such a, you know, an interesting texture where it starts to look more distressed. It starts to look more aged, which I do like a lot. Okay. This would be great. Like, I can think of some collage pieces that I have that I would love to see, love to do this process and just see how it turns out. Okay. All right. And I'm sure there's a correct way to do this, but this is the way I've decided to attack this project, just to see what happens. What happens to this paper. Okay. All right. It is definitely softening. And it's losing its crispness. But you can still hear it. So I don't know. I'll just keep doing it and see what happens. What we end up with. This also reminds me, I don't know, you know, this little thing we used to do when I was a kid in school. We would take notebook paper. Oh my goodness, this memory just came to me. We would take notebook paper. We would have one sheet that was flat, and then we would all take another sheet and we would ball it up just to see who could shrink their paper smaller. So once you balled your paper up and then flatten it back out, you would lay it on top of the notebook paper to see who could get theirs to shrink the most. Oh goodness. Kind of like that, you know. Then of course, remember, we would do the glue, you know, like the skin with glue, put glue on your palm and see, you know, if you could make a new skin. Just little stuff like that. Oh, goodness. We were so creative. I know sometimes we would get in trouble, though, for using our school supplies for things that weren't school related. Okay. All right. My little tear is getting bigger and bigger. So I don't mind it. That wasn't, I wasn't contemplating that would happen. So, okay. But I like that side too. I really do. I like what's happening to the paper. And I do like the feel of it. And I can think of a few projects that I could use this for. I could, I've got some ideas, and maybe if I just make it through this, then maybe in one of my next videos, I can show you some ideas, what I decide to do with it. Okay. All right. Well, okay. I know it's just a very rustic, I think organic feel to it now. And I do like the feel of it between my fingers now. I do like it, and you can see it's more pliable. And okay, so oh wow, I could see how this could become addictive. Doing this process, you just get to do this and see it change and feel it change, which is amazing. And I don't want to work it too much, but okay. Wow. Okay. Oh yeah, so this is so much different than it started. And I do like the transformation of it. And I like the tattered edges. I like that. And the little parts that are just a little bit more, it looks rough, but it is soft. Definitely softer than it started. Oh yeah, very nice. Okay. This is such a creative thing, Momigami. And I hope I'm saying that right. I really hope I'm saying that right. I think next I will do, let's just look at this one right here. You hear that sound from the paper, and then this one. No longer, like it's a totally different sheet now. It's a totally different feel and vibe going on. And I'm amazed at just what can be done with a little bit of oil, a little bit of lotion, and just eager hands, kneading, And now I'm thinking about all the different types of paper that it would be nice to try this with. Like, I'm thinking, hey, you could do some collage papers, or you could make some collage papers and then momigami it. You could do some painting. So just kind of, do some acrylic paint on some paper or some watercolors on some paper and do this. And that would probably be beautiful as well. So I think, like, I'm happy with it. I've needed it so much that the texture has changed. And just like with my fabric, when I buy fabric, there's always sometimes I buy fabric and I know immediately what I want to do with it. And then sometimes I buy fabric and I'm just waiting for the perfect project, the perfect inspiration to hit me. And that's how I feel right now about this paper. I feel like, okay, I've got to figure out just the perfect thing to do with this paper. This paper that we've kind of turned into cloth, fabric, just something special. Maybe in a journal or a piece of art, or I'll have to figure it out. But I enjoyed the process. I do like the outcome. And I just want to thank you for spending this time with me. And if you already are using Momigami for things, I would love for you to let me know in the comments. If there's a technique that you use that you could share, I would love to hear that as well. If you use oil or the starch or just whatever you use that would make this process better, let me know in the comment section. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, be sweet, be grateful, and stay optimistic.